Hello and welcome to Dreams of Wings, and welcome here to Blackbushe Airport, my local, and it's always a pleasure to fly from here in the sim. And this of course is the fantastic scenery from LN Design, and you can see that it's had an update including the wonderful Blackbushe Heritage Trust Vickers Viking that's now here. In this video, we are going to be taking, which for me is a kind of like a refresher flight in the 500C. It's been a few weeks since I've flown her. It's one of my favourite helicopters, so I thought why not take a flight from here at Blackbushe down to Goodwood, see some sights along the way, do a few practice landings and takeoffs and that sort of thing, and just otherwise have a relaxing flight. So strap in, sign the insurance waiver, and let's get going. Well, here we are, and as you can see, it's tad on the windy side out here at Blackbushe. The windsock is horizontal. Looking at a little nav map at the moment, it's saying 22 knots, so within limits of the helicopter, but it's certainly going to give me a challenge, which is what this is all about. This is not a tutorial video. This is very much about me having a chance to practice flying the 500C, which is a beautiful helicopter to fly, and a great way of getting to grips with helicopter physics and all that sort of thing. And so yeah, it would be boring if it was easy, eh? So let's just do a couple of things. We'll remove the covers, come over to the rotors, let's check that. Quick look around the front, and we can remove the pitot heat cover. Everything else is looking good here. Quick check of the skids, that's all good. Let's have a look in the engine. There we go, everything is connected up, and there are no Hampshire squirrels in there today, so that's all good. We can close the engine up now. Wrong click spot, there we go. Come back out from underneath, pop up, let's go and have a look at the rotor. The tail rotor rather. Yeah, that's all good. Quick look down here. I don't think, no, we still can't check the fuel as it were, but we can have a look around otherwise, and all looks good. Right, let's pop in. Right, okay, well let's quickly get things up and running. So quick look around, just checking that all our everything is off here, nothing to worry about there. That's all done. Quick check of my physical controls, and that's all good. Perfect. Right, let's have battery on. And we've got engine out as we would expect, and generator out as we would expect. That's all good. We're not going to be using the GTN XI today, but I will just get that started. Quick check of our lights, warning lights.
TOS, system test OK.
And we can reset that. Let's have some anti-collision and position lights on, because that's always good. Fuel cock is open, so we will get that wonderful fuel. Landing lights are off, that's fine there. Okay, so I'm going to quickly check my collective. I've got the Virpil TCS Rotor Plus, or correct words in a different order for that. But anyway, so first thing I need to do is set up my. There we go. Set up that so it's in the correct position for start. So we're in cutoff. Otherwise, that's okay. Everything is looking fine here. I'm going to put the start pump on for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we will take that off. And then my favourite part, I'm going to I've got a starter switch bound on my Virpil collective, so we can do a start. So I'm going to be looking over there, just to make sure that that we don't overdo anything, and that we introduce the fuel at the correct RPM. So I'm going to shut up and you can hear the start. is fine. More pressure rising, nice to see. There we go. And everything's looking good. Okay, let's have the generator on now. Pitot heat can come on as well. We're getting the sound there because we've got the low rotor speed and we'd expect that because we're running at low throttle. So what we can do now is we can slowly start to introduce throttle. That's all good, and our warning tone has gone out. Now we can, just going to check the governor, I'm going to put the RPM up to 104. That's all good, drop it down again. And that's kicked in. Back up to 104. And we are good to go. Quick check around that I haven't done anything silly, as is my want. Everything's looking fine. Happy with our engine instruments. We are good to go to fly. Okay, now for me this is always the slightly tricky bit. This is where I've got to dial into it, and the first takeoff after a while not flying her is never pretty, so you're going to have to bear with me. But my intention, the important word being intention, is to lift, do a hover check, then we can taxi out, and we'll just take off straight into wind because it's you know, pretty much right on our nose right now. So I'm just going to adjust my map over here, and then that's good, and then we can get cracking. Okay, let's go. So bear with me because, as I say, this first pickup is not going to be pretty. Skid down a bit, blowing up a bit of dust there. Everything is good in the hover check. Just going to come over here a little bit. In fact, why not? We'll head over to the runway. I haven't got multiplayer on and I haven't got AI on, so I know I haven't got traffic. And of course today we don't have ATC, we have freedom of the skies, can do what the hell we want. Having a look at the instruments there. Okay, we'll do a quick lap of Blackbushe. If you know Blackbushe, then hopefully you will feel very at home here with the LN Design scenery. I think he has done a cracking job. Ironically, I've never flown in real life from Blackbushe, but I've kind of been here to spectate a few times, and it looks pretty good to me. Definitely feels at home. Pathfinder Cafe down there, very good for a breakfast. Okay, Right, so let's get moving. So what I've done is I've plotted a kind of a loose course to take us down to Goodwood, and we can just have a look at some things on the way. I've no idea what they're going to look like. They're things that exist in the real world, and I thought it would be quite fun to perhaps use them for a bit of landing practice and that kind of stuff, and just have a nice bit of sightseeing. It's a reasonably nice day with the weather here. We have got that wind. I'm just looking across a little nav map. We've now got a 37 knot crosswind, which is quite interesting. So the weather with the wind is going a little bit bonkers, but we've got Fleet Pond just on the nose there. We're about to cross the M3. This is a quite a nice depiction of, from a lighting point of view, of a December day. I haven't got live weather on because, to be honest, the live weather is just horrible, so there's not a great deal of point, but at least we get some of that nice low sun, low December sun. There's Fleet Railway Station there.
Too low terrain. Too low terrain.
That's a sound that we get a lot in helicopters.
Too low terrain.
I'm happy with the Viz. Okay, I'll wait for that to go off.
Too
again.
low terrain.
Happy with the Viz and the lack of mountains that I'm going to we're going to inhibit that. Otherwise it's going to be going off all the time. This really is a gorgeous helicopter. For me it's almost like my my helicopter Spitfire. It's apart from the GTN XI, it's a nice steam gauge helicopter. You can definitely feel the physics. It hasn't got a huge amount in terms of autopilot stability kind of stuff. On a day like today with the wind, you're feeling everything, and it's a great way to learn helicopter physics. Same with the Llama, actually. Llama's another really good helicopter to learn to fly in. Taog's Hangar's Llama. But you can't go wrong with anything that he puts out. The Huey is absolutely beautiful. Cannot complain. So first thing, we're heading just down to Caesar's Camp. If you know the area, then you probably know of it, have heard of it, but it's an old ancient fort where they found all sorts of things. So we're just going to have a look at that because it's a nice little waypoint for us to take a look at. Just coming over there now, so you can see a car park, but you can't see much of the fort. I've never been here actually, so there probably isn't a huge amount to see, but you can see the high ground there where it would have been an obviously good place to set it up on. So we're going to go down to Goodwood. The reason we're going to Goodwood is because at some point, hopefully not too many months away, Flying Iron are going to be releasing their version 2 of the Spitfire, and I've been doing so much flying in helicopters and other aircraft that I need to get some time back in the Spitfire again. It used to be the only aircraft I ever really used to fly in P3D. That and the Mustang. I used to fly the A2A Spitfire and Mustang and T6 most of the time. So in Flight Sim 2020 and 2024 I have broadened my palette a little bit, and especially doing a lot of helicopter flying. So I need to get some tail dragger time in, so we're flying down to Goodwood, and then either offline as it were, or maybe in a future video or stream, I'm going to be doing some Spitfire flying, taking the Spit from Goodwood up to Duxford, and then at Duxford I'm going to be doing some putting myself through some training, getting ready for the version 2 split, which I'm really excited about. We'll no doubt have some new features, some new handling to get to know, but better to get a bit of practice in the meantime. But Hampshire's looking rather lovely today, really is. We have got a bit of Dunder Mifflin office blocks going on in the farmland, which can't be helped with the scenery, but otherwise, I mean, it's just incredible. For helicopters, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 ground scenery really is quite stunning. So much detail, I love it. So we're coming up on Northbrook Park now. It just looked interesting from the satellite view. I'm not sure what we will have in the way of interesting landing spots, but this is the beauty of flying helicopters. Sometimes, you know, this is the kind of thing I do, fly around, and if you see somewhere interesting to go and inspect or to go and land on, then crack on. I'm just going to zoom my map in a little bit. There we go. Be careful what we're doing. So just fly over this section. Well, it looks like we've got a nice old house. It has populated a whole load of little cottages there for some reason, but at least you can see the old house and the gardens. So I think, yeah, we can have a bit of a practice. There's a bit of green there, and let's have a look. So the wind is going to be okay. That's fine. Watch out for the big mast. No one ever wants to bump into a big mast. Where is, there it is, there it is. I'm just watching the lake. So coming in with the nose pretty much into wind. Not quite, we've got a slight crosswind component, so I am just going to come over here a little bit. I'm going to come into the lake or over the lake and then land on that patch of grass and try and get as much into wind as possible. Something actually that's really interesting about the 500 is, and we saw it a little bit there, I don't know if you noticed, I glanced over at the map, and while I glanced over at the map we suddenly started climbing, so it's quite sensitive, things can happen very quickly, and there's a real relationship between where our torque pedals are, or anti-torque pedals are, and where the collective is, so we have to keep on top of that. Looks like we've got a bit of a slope there. So maybe a little bit further in we can see some flatter ground. Oh, the helicopter's lifting there, that's interesting. It could be the wind gusting a little bit, perhaps. Forward a little bit. I want to get closer to this. There we go, that'll do. And we're down. Okay, so yeah, interesting dialing back into it. It is a lovely helicopter, it really is. So quick check of everything over here, that's good, and our RPM is fine. Okay, so where are we going to next? Next we're going to okay, Alice Holt, the Alice Holt Park. It's kind of a nice place to go at the weekend for a walk with the family and all that. So there should be a nice nice landing spot there. So lift, yeah, quick check there, and we're all good. Not going to hang about, let's get the nose down. Wind is now 30 knots on the nose. Definitely seems to be increasing. Interesting. I wonder if there's something funny going on with this preset. I can't remember where I got it from, but the wind seems to be increasing. But it's all good training. It puts hairs on your chest and all that. What a lovely day. Apart from the crazy wind. Bit of wobbling going on there. I've noticed that sometimes with helicopters you get that kind of wobbling if there's a lot of wind. So just checking that. Coming up on Alice Holt now. Just going to scoosh us over here. There's the car park. I recognise that. Sadly, we seem to have a bit of Dunder Mifflin going on, a bit of autogen with an office block there. But there's the there's kind of like the cafe and the area there. There's like a play area. Check the wind. Wind is now 38 knots. We're approaching the limit for this helicopter. And I may have to do something about that, because if the wind carries on increasing the way it is, then it becomes a little bit daft. Might be able to I wonder if I can dial it down a little bit, maybe. We'll see. Let's see how it goes. We're not going to chicken out just yet. So, there was Alice Holt, so now we can head back, get on course again. It's very hard to describe how just how much fun it is to fly this helicopter. It's very fluid, and you have to keep on top of it all the time. You know, even me making a video here and getting distracted and talking to you and all that sort of thing, it's very easy to suddenly lose sight of what you're meant to be doing, which is really focusing on exactly what you're doing with the cyclic in the collective. But my lord, it's so much fun. It's a helicopter you really feel connected to. That's the best way I can describe it. It's one of the reasons I kind of think of this as being my Spitfire of the helicopter world, because it, you know, there's that old analogy that you kind of strap a Spitfire on and off you go, and this helicopter does feel like that. You feel so connected to it. And I got so distracted by the scenery there and flying and talking to you, I've gone a little bit off course, so I just need to rectify that. If you've not thought of flying helicopters, I suspect that if you're watching this you have. But maybe if you're someone who follows the channel and you just watch the video but you don't really fly helicopters, I really can recommend it, especially this one. This was an absolute no-brainer for me to go out and buy. Having flown the Llama, I just knew this was going to be good, and obviously also the Huey as well. But flying helicopters gives you quite a lot of freedom. I did make a video some time ago about why fly helicopters in the sim, and if I remember, I'll put a link to that video in the description down below if you want to have a look at that. But it really is a joy. It's learning a new set of skills. Flying helicopters well is not easy. I still have a long way to go, and it's just a nice challenge and a great way to explore the beautiful scenery that we have in this sim. Never really got into helicopters in P3D because the scenery wasn't that inspiring for doing that sort of flying, but in this sim it's a whole new ball game. So just flying over Borden now in this fantasy sim flight. We have no rules, no air traffic control, so we can just have a good look. And believe it or not, I am using it as practice, just doing different things. Quick check of the engine gauges, everything's good. By the way, let me know in the comments if you're flying helicopters. What are you flying? What are you enjoying? It's always interesting to know. There's several helicopters that I haven't got. I tend not to ask developers for freebies so that I can make videos. Just going over a range here, you can see. Maybe not quite. There you go. It's a rifle range. So I don't have every helicopter that's going. Is another rifle range, but I certainly feel like I've got the good ones. I've got the ones that I enjoy. This one, the H145 for doing HEMS work, the Huey and the Llama, beautiful helicopters. Being a little bit careful there, it's getting carried away with the scenery. Some more rifle ranges there. You can see this is this whole area is actually there's a lot of military stuff going on. Longmore. One of these days I'm going to get myself a one of those kind of starter flights or taster lessons or whatever in a helicopter. I've got some fixed wing flying training up to first solo, but I've never done any helicopter flying. I've only ever been in a helicopter once, and that was a Sea King back in the 80s. That's how long it's been. Yeah, it'd be really interesting to go up in a helicopter now. Really enjoying just flying around the scenery. Just going over Rake here. The inhabitants of Rake saying, what is that hooligan doing in that helicopter? Just going to come back over here. Using Rex Atmos, by the way, with the Andrew Bennett presets, just in case anyone's wondering. It does give a nice kind of realistic feel to it all. So we're coming up on another waypoint. Let's have a look. What is this? Fining Hill. Oh, okay. I think I chose it because it looked like it had an interesting grounds. Looks like I can't tell if it's a farm or an old home, but it looked like it had some interesting potential spots for some landing practice. So let's have a look. This is it over here. Let's see what we got. This is a great way of practicing in helicopters, by the way. Just pick a start point, pick an end point, and then just have a look on Google Maps or satellite view on little nav map and just see what there is. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe of trying in between those long buildings in front of the house. And I should say I am not trying to show off to you, because I guarantee you there's a good chance this could not go well. This is practice, that's what it's all about. A lot of the videos I make are me practicing and learning, rather than trying to show off to you and show you how it's done. Hopefully you realise that. Okay, let's now set ourselves up for an approach. So, quick check of the wind. This is bonkers. The wind at the moment is 42 knots. 42 knots. 45 knots now. Absolutely insane. Anyway, let's come in for an approach. Not going to try and do anything fancy schmancy, coming in at a huge rate of knots and barrel it down like we're on some kind of a tactical drop-off. So I can see we've got a nice big tree in the way. So dropping the collective and reducing the speed. Being chucked around by the wind a bit. There's some nice ornate gardens down there. Rob, don't look at the gardens, mate. Fly the helicopter. You can see our indicated airspeed there, and we're hardly moving. So there's absolutely no point looking at the indicated airspeed to try and gauge what we're doing. It's very much look out the window. Wind speed 32 knots on the nose at the moment, according to Little Navmap. Interesting moving textures on the ground there. I guess that's grass. Come on. And we're down. Okay. I'd like to have been a little bit softer with that, but it's okay. We survived. And we didn't hit any buildings, so that's quite good. Right, let's have a quick check of the map. Okay, that's absolutely fine. And our next stop is something called Devil's Jumps. There you go. Okay, so lifting. Hover check, watching that wind catching is there and destroying the flow a little bit. All good. Okay, let's dial in some more pitch and lift over the house. Get the nose down a little bit. Pick up some speed and head out on course. Airframe wobbling again. So yeah, wind seems to be staying around about where it is, which is this kind of 35 knot mark at the moment. So I'm happy to leave that where it is. It's always good to practice with in conditions like this, because if you can fly when it's like this, it makes it a whole lot easier when you haven't got a load of wind. I love the way we had the bales of hay on the ground there. That kind of 3D object thing just adds to the whole feel of it all. So we'll scoot down here to Devil's Jumps, watching out for the cables. I've got Mamu Designs cables and solar farms. Although actually I've got those disabled for the UK now, because I've got the excellent Burning Blue solar farms pack, so which is a little bit better for that. So I'm not sure if we'll see any solar farms on our way, but if we do, I should be sure to point them out. Say, hey, there's a solar farm. Isn't it lovely countryside, hey? I spend so much time flying in other places that I sometimes kind of forget how nice my neck of the woods is from the air. Little lake there. So coming up on Devil's Jumps, it's a feature I chose just because it looks potentially quite interesting, because they are almost like a target shape, looking at the map. But I have no idea what they're going to look like in the sim, so we're going to find out. If I can spot them. Just waiting for visual confirmation. Is that it? Looks like it. There we go. There we go. Okay, we're not going to be landing on any of those. They're the wrong shape, but interesting feature nonetheless. Old house there. So wind is now 42 knots. I think that is pretty much the limits of the aircraft. So we are on the line. So I'm not going to try and land on it, but we will just try and do a bit of an approach and some low speed handling. Wind is on the nose. This would actually be a good place to practice those kind of toe-in landings so that people can jump out. Interesting, that reminds me. Oh, I'll tell you once we get in the air, I need to focus a moment. Can't really see my skid, so I'm not sure I can. Whoa. That's kind of a toe-in. Well, it's more of a landing actually. That's more of a toe in there. Let's just ease that up a bit. There we go, that's more of a toe in. There we go. Yeah, okay. Let's, okay, that's interesting. I think something is probably, I don't know if it's confused, but I've got the collective bottomed out now, but the RPM seems to have shot up. Do you know what I think has happened? I wonder if we're stuck. I think we might be stuck in the... are we stuck in the hillock? Maybe. Okay, so... kind of limited in what I can do here. This is why you shouldn't mess about and fly into hills. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. So I'm going to put the collective all the way down to the bottom, and then I'm just going to see if this works. That worked. Right. So I've just shifted us out of the... shifted us away from the hillock. That's interesting. I've not seen that before, but then I've never tried to do a tow-in, but it's almost like the helicopter got stuck in the hillside a little bit there. Maybe something to do with the type of scenery. So, let's start again. And I'm just going to lift. There we go. Everything's working as it should now. We bid you farewell, Devil's Jump. They don't call you that for nothing. Getting helicopters stuck in them, very rude. It's always one of those things, isn't it, in flight sims? It's a little bit like when you see a bridge and you have that urge to fly under it, and then you find out that there's like a you know, you crash in thin air because the sim sees an object. You see a piece of scenery, you want to play with it, like I was trying to do that tow in there, and then you suddenly find, oh, okay, it's not going to follow normal physics. My helicopter is now embedded and will not move. But thank heavens for slew mode. Okay, so what have we got here? West Dean we are heading to now. I'm not sure if it's another old house that caught my eye. Let's have a look. Watching out for the power lines again. Don't want to go twanging into them. See the sea now. Just on the horizon, sun glinting off it. Oh, bit of turbulence there.
500.
Okay, so we've got a mixture of looks like a farm. Okay, there was something that caught my eye on Google Maps, but it's not really standing out. Maybe the autogen's blocking some things, but it looked quite nice from there. Okay, onwards, Macduff. Is that even a thing? Onwards, Macduff. Am I misquoting? Probably. Okay, so we're going to go to the Goodwood estate now, or rather the race course. We will land at the race course, and then we will head down to Goodwood itself. Just need to find a nice place to land. When I was looking at Google Maps, there seemed to be quite a few different places. Unfortunately, this is very much default auto-gen scenery, so it looks a bit pants, I think is the word we're looking for. Quite a lot of auto-gen going on there. Not quite as beauteous as I'd hoped, but I tell you what, there's a nice oval of grass there with some fancy schmancy buildings. So we're going to pretend that we have a VIP on board and we're going to drop them off there. So I'm just going to come back round again. Quick check of the wind on the nose, 40 knots, absolutely bonkers. I'm going to come back round. Horrible nasty pause there. Come over this high ground here. Helicopter wobbling a bit in the wind. Wind is 29 knots at this point, so it's died down a little bit, but you can see how it's affecting the helicopter. So I'm pointing into wind now, so what I'm going to do is going to come in keeping on pointing into wind. A little bit too high, a little bit too high. Something really lifted us then, which is, I guess it's the wind. Yeah, I think the wind is playing havoc with the physics at the moment. 30 knots. So let's try and see if this is going to work, because the helicopter is bucking around all over the place, as you can probably tell. The climbing and dropping all the time. Okay, behave. And we're down. Okay, there we go. Whew. Right. Shame about that. I seem to remember the scenery looking better than this, but I wonder if it was part of some kind of pack. Maybe it was some kind of pack that Orbex did, where you had a much better model of the race Corsair. Anyway, okay, so now we head to Goodwood. And this is the Burning Blue Design Goodwood, which is a lovely piece of scenery. Goodwood is of course the home of Spitfires.com and the home of the lovely Gilda that I was very lucky to fly some years ago. Goodwood does have a real strange quirk in the sim, and what makes it even weirder is that it doesn't seem to happen to everybody. And it doesn't seem to matter whether you've got Burning Blue Design scenery or not, but there is a point near the windsock where you get a horrible pause, and I'll kind of show you it in this, and no one seems to have figured out what causes it. It happened in 2020, happens in 2024, and when you're trying to execute a really nice takeoff in the Spitfire, to suddenly have this jarring kind of pause is a real pain in the backside, to say the least. There is it, where is it? Okay, oh that's a shame. Goodwood House is just there, but you wouldn't know it. Okay, we're coming in now into Goodwood itself. Approach over this way. Fighting the wind a little bit. We've got more of a crosswind component here. Now I'll hunt out that pause for you, so it's another chance for me to have a bit of practice. So we'll just hover taxi down the runway. You can just see the windsock, just kind of centre left, and we'll see when we get to that point. Windsock horizontal here as well. Wind 22 knots at the moment, according to little nav map. There it is. There was the pause. Same place every time, and similar position on the other runway as well. Okay. Land in front of Spitfires.com. Let's get control of the helicopter. The wind took us there a little bit. Show you a bit more of the scenery because it really is excellent. And then we'll run in a landing to the helipad and then hover taxi around. Again, a little bit more practice for me. Indicating 30 knots. Fighting the wind again. Oh. Okay, a bit messy that. Bit messy that. Wind 22 knots and pretty much a crosswind there. So that was interesting. That was interesting. Right, let's hover taxi round to Spitfires.com. This time I'll go that way. Oh, wind suddenly whipped us round then. Just keep control. There we go. There we go. Yeah, wind definitely making it interesting. Anyway, before we blow Spitfires.com away with everything, let's calm everything down. Bring the engine down. There we go. Just let it calm down. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the flight. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on board. It's always great to get practice in like this, especially when the wind is a bit choppy, because it means that you're you're flying in different circumstances and learning different things, and it's always good. But it's been a pleasure having you on board, and I look forward to seeing you on the channel again very soon. Take care now. Bye bye.